Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 53 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever looked yourself in the mirror and thought, wow, I thought things would be different by now. I thought things would be better by now. Or why am I not further along by now? And if you have, you are not alone. But what if I told you that there was this one thing, just one thing that could help you make this shift to realize that right here, right now is the time, the greatest time in history, the greatest time in your life to really live abundantly. And in today's episode, we will dive into that one thing. So if you are ready, let's get started. This is going to be a juicy one. So I know what it's like to want more, to dream of more, and to think maybe it's just not meant for me. I went down the career path that I thought I should go down, the one that I thought would bring me the most options and satisfy all the things I needed around me and maybe create some stability. Again, all of this is not wrong. And I would make these small tweaks here and there to make all of this my own. But I never felt like I was living my calling. I didn't even know what my calling was. And if I didn't know what I even wanted to do with my career, how was I going to get all the connections or go to any dream schools or graduate schools or get any kind of dream jobs? And then it hit me. The only thing that separated people who landed their dream jobs or schools or careers from those that hadn't was one thing: the decisions they made. Now, just to be clear, I'm not talking about a quit my job and chase my dreams kind of decision. I'm talking about tiny little decisions about what their strengths were and the kind of lives they wanted to live. And when I started modeling these decisions in my life, I was accepted into multiple top MBA programs. I received an offer at prestigious consulting companies. I became a certified yoga instructor, energy healer. I got an offer to work at a mission-driven company. I started my own company. I became a coach. I spent more time with my family. And I know what it's like to feel financially stable and to be able to travel the world. I also know the definition of what true success is for me. And that's the ability to work from home when I need to feel that my work has an impact on the world, to take my kids to school, to be incredibly healthy, to do great work in the world, and to be the best mom and partner that I can be. Now, I don't know what your definition of success is, but I want to tell you here and now that the only thing standing between the life you have and the one you deserve is the decisions you make in your life. I made the decisions that allowed me to go from following the path of what I thought people wanted me to do to delivering impact to top companies in the world and changing people's lives for the better. Many people have asked me what my story is and how I decided to make this switch to coaching, or how I even came to coaching in the first place. And what I always tell them is that I was living a really good on the surface life. I really couldn't complain about anything that I had in my life because I had more money than I needed, a loving partner, people who supported me. These are the golden handcuffs, as you probably are all well aware. Yet, there was this undercurrent of knowing that I wasn't fully stepping into living a life that was my own. And it didn't really get stirred up until later. And this undercurrent is this feeling of living life almost like you're on the surface, one where problems would just keep coming up, and they'd be the same things over and over. And even though I knew about this idea of, eradicating problems at the root cause, in my own life, I would still do the things like, I would switch jobs or roles or get more education or hope that it was better somewhere else. And I didn't know what I didn't know about relationships, about money, about business, about spirituality. It wasn't until the third death in a span of a few years when I began to really look at my life with a sense of urgency. It just started to hit home, and it was, the first death was my grandmother, and I had the sense of, I just need to come to New York. I just need to come to New York. I need to be close to my family. I didn't know why. I wasn't the kind of person that was really, really, really close with my family and spent all this time talking, to my family and being near them all the time. But I just had this sense of I needed to move back, and I was living in Maryland at the time. And then within, I would say, a month or two of me arriving there, she ended up having a stroke, and I was able to visit her in the hospital and spend a lot of time with her and with my dad before she passed. And then the second death was my father dying. And when he passed, it was very sudden. It was right after I graduated from Columbia, and I got accepted to McKinsey, and was at the point of that, I had literally just come back from a 7-week trip to Europe. Talk about having a grand adventure. Jay took a sabbatical. We were traveling all over the place. We came back. I was doing my yoga teacher certification. I was about to start McKinsey, probably about like a month or two from then, and I got the call. And of course, that call changes everything. But it wasn't enough, apparently. And I think that for those who are pretty resilient, you need a lot of wake-up calls, or you need a lot of signs to come and kind of hit you across the forehead before you realize. And it wasn't until the third death, where it was someone that was the partner of someone that was on my team at work, and I was there, and able to experience that pain and the suffering of the loss of a loved one and what that meant to that family. And it really hit home. It really hit home then that life was short, that life was temporary, and it really sparked the question of, was I really loving the people around me as much as I could? Was I really loving my life as much as I could? Was I loving the work that I put all my energy and time into? And was I truly owning my life? And the title of this podcast is Own Your Best Life, because owning is about decisions. And when I was so burnt out from my job that I began to have thoughts of self-harm, which for most people would be very surprising to think of me, because I'm very positive and have always tended to be so, to have those kind of thoughts. And that's what turned it around, was when I realized that I had a choice. I had a choice that this life, that this job, this everything that I did not want in my life was a decision that I made every single day. I was not a passive participant in this exchange. And what I'll ask you is the same question. Are you owning that even though you may not be responsible for what has happened in your life, you're responsible for how you choose to experience your life from here on out? And so when all those deaths stirred me up, that's when I decided I needed to figure it out. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my time, my energy, that I had gifts that weren't fully being utilized. And I knew there were more things in life that I wanted to explore. And that's how, it spawned this huge journey, which is why I created Career Relation Academy, the program which helps you find the career and the work and the life really that you love. But it's what led me to coaching and to this deep healing work that has created something that is beyond my imagination. And I think that is the beauty of what happens when you get onto a path where there is no final destination. And for many of us in our careers, there's a final destination. There is the next promotion or this next thing, or you can see, is it the CEO job that I want? And I'm not saying that those are not dreams in and of themselves. I think those are. And I would also say that there may be other dreams that you have beyond that, of life that you want to explore in a totally different way. And even if you're not the kind of person that thinks of yourself as an achiever, or the kind of person that feels like you have these big, audacious goals or dreams, you probably want to live life a little bit more fully. You probably want to squeeze a little bit more juice out of your life to really feel that you are utilizing your time here and feeling like it meant something, that you weren't suffering every single day. And when I started that one decision and that one question of that one realization that I had this choice and that I could make a decision, and every day this was a decision, it shifted everything. It shifted the ownership. It shifted no matter what situation that I came to face. I realized that if I tried to blame, life does not change. If I try to blame another person, if I try to blame what life has given me, it will not change. My situation just stays the same. I wonder, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? And it's because I'm blaming. What happens is when I actually want to find change in my life, it happens when I take ownership. And when I said, for example, I want to have more impact or I want to make more money, it only happened because I took action on it. No one came and said, here you go. I had to actually claim it as mine, to see it as something that was worth my time or energy. And when I wanted a deeper spiritual practice, I had to commit to it. Same goes with my health, with my relationships. The list goes on. And if you think you should be further along by now, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with where you are. But you are a product of your decisions, and you are a product of your actions in the past. But right now, you can make a change. You can see that this desire is a signal of contrast. Every time you compare to someone else, to something else, you are saying, well, why not me? The one thing you can do, however, is to spend the time properly answering that question. And when you answer that question, it's not about the other person or the other life that you could have, should have, would have had. It's about sparking a thought to ask yourself, what do I need to do to have it be me? If we make that question about something else, about why someone else get to do it, or why does that person have this, it becomes this comparison trap that I know we are all really familiar with. And comparison, when we misuse it, is a form of violence. It becomes jealousy. It harms yourself and others when you begin to think negatively about yourself and about other people. Whenever we fuel negative thoughts, it actually doesn't feel good in our body. I would challenge you to think of a time when you were fueling negative thoughts about someone else, and it brought you this feeling of expansive, open joy in your body. I would say that usually you feel some kind of stress or anxiety. It might feel like this high voltage feeling, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a healthy and sustaining and life-giving high voltage energy. It might be one that you're addicted to in terms of stress, in terms of feeling that, ignition that gets you going. But I would also ask you whether or not you feel that that is a sustainable thing for your health and your longevity. And so think about this comparison thought. A lot of times we compare, we compete, we try to be better than. But how do we do this from a different place? When you can let it inspire you, for example, when you can let a comparison inspire you, it has us tapping back into this, I would call this almost this energy that's much more loving, that's much more compassionate, And if we're truly here to learn to love, we can love someone else as we would want to be loved, or we could love them as they probably want to be loved. And even that person who has that life you want, or the parts of the life you want, is you. People are mirrors to that which we want most, or what we most fear. And when we realize that, it can help decrease its power over you and allow yourself to just see it as it is. This comparison is a story you are telling yourself about why, again, you don't have what you think you should have in life, or why, again, have you failed again and again. So if you can stop right now and realize that this is poisoning your own ability to move forward, and if you can stop comparison from rearing that ugly head and becoming this tool for self-loathing or for hatred, you can actually leverage it to give you fuel. Yes, others might have more opportunities than you do, and they may have more resources, whether it's time or money. That's just a fact. Like anything else, you are different. Someone else is different. There was never one way that this was all supposed to work. A lot of times we think about fairness and we start to say, well, this person has this thing and they can't have this thing. This is really not fair. How come I don't have this thing? It was never supposed to be fair. I know that fair feels good, but it's not reality. So we have to move beyond what is this frame of a more childlike sense of wanting the world to be idealistic and set up a certain way. And we need to move into a more adult frame of mind, which is much more of an acceptance of the way things are and how can we move from here. And when you realize that, it serves no purpose, this comparison. It serves no purpose then to use that energy and point out all the reasons why it can't work and how it will never be you. Or you can say, okay, now that I know that, I want to use that energy towards creating the life you desire. Put some blinders on, start staying in your own lane, start just comparing to what you did yesterday, and realize that you're building a life that is just uniquely yours, and it's okay if it looked different than your life the day before. But we are not comparing against someone else's standard for what our life should look like, and we are also not comparing to the way we think life should be for us versus, given what is happening now, what do I want to do about this? Right? There's no story there. There's no story. There's just a straight up decision, a straight up action about what do you want life to look like and what do you need to do to make it happen. And the question then becomes, well, what if life wasn't supposed to be or isn't supposed to be miserable? What if life is supposed to be about this journey of growth or learning? And if it is about growth and learning, then maybe this is the best ride of your life. You actually have a place to go from here. Look at all that room that you have to grow, and look at how unknown all that future is to you. I know that we fear the unknown possibilities more sometimes than we fear the known misery of our past. And it's what enables us to stay right where we are while others are moving along so quickly. So if you can let go of some of those desires to hold on to the misery that you are well aware of, you're able then to move a little bit lighter and quicker into the place where you want to go. And I can appreciate all the reasons why you are where you are. Yet, can I ask you a question? What does it take for you to finally make a decision that this is the time? What does it take for you to finally get into action? To think about, if you can think about something that you have decided already, and that decision has changed your life for the better, it likely came from something that inspired you, some kind of positive experience. Maybe you saw someone do something, or you saw a vision of a life and you decided to make it your own. Or it was something that was really painful, something that was really negative. It made you realize, oh, life was short, or I can't keep doing this, or this has consequences. And if you want to finally be motivated to change, you have to associate so much pain with where you are now, or so much beauty or pleasure with where it is you want to be. I committed really deeply to my spiritual practice, again, when I was in such grief over the loss of the people I loved around me. I decided I needed to change my lifestyle because I was working myself to the point of sickness. My health was being compromised. I saw myself missing my girl's childhood, and I decided to change jobs. Pain was a great motivator for me. And so was beauty, but pain came before beauty. Pain taught me that if I didn't seek to up-level my life and decide my own definition of success, that I was going to live someone else's. What I realized most was that in any place where I thought I should be further along by now, or that things would be better by now, I had to make a decision about what I wanted to have in my life and why. There was always a reason. There's always a reason. It was the decisions I was making to either move more slowly or move more quickly that allowed me to be exactly where I am at that point. Doesn't mean it was the wrong decision, but I had to own that. And it didn't matter if what I wanted in my life was realistic or unrealistic, whether it was reasonable or unreasonable. What mattered was that it was aligned with my own version of success. And so I created a life that I don't want to escape from, one where I'm confident that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, even if it's not like anyone else's, and I know exactly what to do if I want to get to that next level. Now, I know what it feels like to really be successful according to my own definition. And I want to show you how to. So this month, in Intuitive Leadership Coaching, we will be covering how to create a compelling vision for your next 5 years. And in this group coaching program, we break down topics such as these to answer these questions, to move into action, and we move forward with clarity and with peace. We make decisions, and it's go time. So if you want to make decisions like this too, if you know that there's something on your mind that you have been struggling over and you need to figure out, is it X or is it Y? Which fork in the road do I take? Or you need to just map out what it is you want. Go to www.mayemson.com/contact, reach out, and you can learn more. I love you, my friends. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.